noise.
Welcome back to the next part of this Truth and Rhythm episode. Be sure to subscribe to this channel. If you've already done so, please share it with friends. Also become a member by joining Truth and Rhythm on Patreon, or consider donating at funkinstuff.net. Thank you so much for your interest and support. Enjoy.
Sukiyaki would not have been released without George Duke. Let's just put it that way. It would not have been recorded in the studio, I should say, without George.
How did he guide you on that one in particular?
Well, he didn't. George, I had recorded Sukiyaki. I've been wanting to do Sukiyaki, back when they burned the records, and I'm trying to think of another song that we can do. And then I heard that Linda Ronstadt version of Ooh Baby Baby. And I said, oh, we should do something different like that. Excuse me. I saw that Linda Ronstadt version of Ooh Baby Baby. I said, we should do something unique like that. We need to go do a ballad. And immediately I thought of the song Sukiyaki, but the song I thought of was Ooh, because I used to do that as a child. I used to perform that in my backyard with my robe on, pretending I'm dancing. So I knew about that song. I said, if we slow it down and make it a ballad, because the melody is so beautiful. So I called my publisher in Japan. I said, get me in touch with the writer. I need permission to do this because I don't want to do a translation. Because at first I asked for translations. They gave me 3 different translations. The first one was I look up to keep my tears from falling down in reference to a death march. Someone was on his way to be executed. The other interpretation was the same thing, looking up to keep my tears from falling down, dealing with just life in general. Someone's just feeling depressed about their life. The other one, looking up to keep my tears from falling down, was a broken-hearted love story. So I chose that one. I said, I'm going to write about love. I'm going to write about a broken heart. And so that's how I started that. So when I called Dr. Cecil Hale over at that time, who was in the A&R department. I said, look, he came to my house. I said, you got to hear this. I got this idea to do the song, Sukiyaki. And he said, no, Black people want to hear Japanese music. I forbid you to do that. And I said, so you're under the impression that all Black people only like what you like? And if you recall, Taste of Honey has more than a Black following. We have pop, we have Asia, we have Africa, we have a lot of different people that have bought our records around the world. He said, absolutely not. Now, that's not a good thing to say to a woman that knows what she wants. And so I presented it to George, and George said, I'm do Sukiyaki. I don't know about that. So George started doing this little up-tempo thing. And I said, no, George. It's going to be a love ballad. It's going to be like this, a love ballad. And so he said, you're not taking no for an answer? I said, nope. He said, okay, let's just try it. Let's just try it and see what happens. Try it and see what happens. So when we did the arrangement, the only thing different that George wanted me to do, that I said, okay, we're going to sing it your way, and then I'm going to sing it the way I hear it. He said, okay, I'll sing. Because he wanted me to sing, it's all the girls, full voice, right? And I said, no, I'm going to sing it sweet, George. And so we were in his house at the time, so I sang the vocal. He said, you know what you're doing. Because I knew what I heard. I knew the record that I was hearing in my head. But had George Duke told me no, we would have got it recorded, most likely, because he's such a kind guy. But he called in Claire Fisher. He added some class, some string, jazzed up a couple of those simple triad chords, major 7, little minor 9 with the raised 14. He was, and it was just simple. And I have to tell you, I was so nervous playing bass on that song because in the room was Roland Batista, who played with Earth, Wind and Fire, George Duke. Oh, I knew he was going to slip my mind, the drummer, and I know him too. Rest in peace. But anyway, all these great musicians, studio musicians, and I had to play with them. I was scared, but it worked out. I remember ding, 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 ding. George, they do that again. I said, okay, ding, ding. So it was just the way it happened. It would not have happened without George agreeing to just, let me try it, George. Let's just see how it works. And he did, because Capitol was saying no, 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 no. And even after it was recorded on the record, they didn't want to release it. I went through hell with that. I'll tell you that story somewhere along the way.
Wow. So yeah, it's such an unlikely path, to making a hit with that one.
Yeah, and the truth of the matter is that I tried to get it to be the first single. It would have sold the album. Everyone would have been paid. I tried to make it the second single. Radio forced it off to be a single. Radio all across the country just started playing it. And I had gone into the record company with my promotional ideas. I'm an arts and crafts kind of girl. I used to work in a sewing factory from the time I was 12 till I was 16. I got a whole lot of other stuff that I do. So I created all of these promotional merchandise items. I had the record with the kimono. I wanted to take the kimono. We had a fan-shaped record. I said, let's do a fan-shaped record. Let's give away some fans. Let's do this. And when I first presented it to them back before it was going to be a single, they told me no to all of them. And then I got a call from Dennis White, who at the time was the head of marketing. And he said, Janice, remember those ideas you brought in here about 6 months ago? I said, he said, bring them back. So I go back with a little drawing of a fan-shaped record, those Japanese fans, because by then I'm dancing, I'm prepared to do the Dihonbuyo live. And then they did all three of them. They did all three of them when they finally put it out as a single. But had it not been for folks like you pulling it off of the record, Sukiyaki would have never happened had it not been for George Duke taking the risk with me. Something just, Sukiyaki's just left field, right? It's totally out of the box. But I knew that after seeing them burn those records, The Taste of Honey needed a ballad. Because at that time, anything up-tempo was considered disco. It didn't have to be disco. It could have been a funk, it could have been R&B, but if it's up-tempo, folks were classifying everything disco. There are R&B acts that were classified disco that were never disco.
Absolutely. Even funk, which is a love of mine, was pigeonholed into that.
Right, everything was. Because that's what they do. They want to give you titles. Do you like our music? How about just let it be great music? So, but I knew how the industry worked, and I knew we needed a ballad. So, and I was trying to be different, just something unheard of.
Yeah. Well, it definitely showed range,
Well, yeah, the showgirl. See, that's the showgirl, right? That's the showgirl in me. Want to, do some dancing. I studied Nihonbuyo for 30 years. I don't just do it. I mean, I live it.
Mm-hmm. And there were great up-tempo songs in there too. I mean, Ain't Nothing But a Party really got that record off to a great start. And Rescue Me too was nice. To me, it reminded me a little bit of like an Emotions kind of track, but real catchy. And I actually saw the clip recently of you guys doing that on Soul Train.
Okay. Yeah. Soul Train. Good old Soul Train. Yeah, that was a fun record to do. That's crazy because Roland Batista and Byron were in the studio and they were jamming. And I heard this jam that they were jamming to. And I said, let me get my recorder out. I'm going to record you guys. I said, I'm going to take this home and write a song to this. And they said, okay. So I go home that night. I had it on my cassette. I transferred over to my 1/4-inch reel-to-reel. And then I get my razor blade out. Because back then we would edit. Guys, there was no digital editing. You could not see. You had to go by your ears. So I'm splicing the tape. I'm back and forth. Okay, I don't want to take that part there and put that part there. And by the time I took that back the next day, I had recorded it onto. I think it was the 1/4-inch reel-to-reel that I had then because I had an 1/2 inch too. But I recorded it on that, I changed the verse. The part that they thought would be the verse became my hook. And I had added the intro, ding, 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 ding. So I just, he said, that's not the song. I said, if you want credit for it, you better claim it. That's the same song. So that's how that happened. It's like one of those overnight things. And ain't nothing but a party. I had great fun writing that with George. Yeah, it was just, George is just incredible.
Yeah, incredible. That one definitely has his sort of production sound.
All over it.
Yeah.
All over it. A few songs on there do, like Say That You Stay. That's George. I
was going to mention that one next. Yeah. That's one of the funkier ones for sure.
Yeah.
That's a good one too. So
George, I got to tell you, George taught us, Hazel and I, a couple of techniques, because, you know, to get to some of those higher notes on Say That You'll Stay, he had us standing on a chair, leaning forward with the mic way up in the air so that we would not be out of tune. This is before, what do they call it? Auto-tune. None of the stuff was auto-tune. So you may hear a few vocals on a few of the records from the old folks, a little slightly out of tune, but the feeling's there. So
that's part of what gives it that special extra something in a lot of cases.
I just wish we had thought the videotape back in those days. Can you imagine having all that kind of footage from being in the studio with George, man? The photo is something, but it's okay. I got him right here.
Yeah. No, I wish we had so much footage from back in the day for sure. So what were some of the, you mentioned going out with the Commodores and Confunction early on. What were a couple of the tours that really just were unforgettable for you, and why?
Well, I think the Commodore was the biggest tour that we went on. And that was unforgettable because there was so much camaraderie and love there between Confunction, LTD, and A Taste of Honey, and the Commodores, because I knew them before we went on tour. I've been knowing them since '76, and the record came out in '78. So it was like, I don't know, like a reunion kind of thing, you know, until we got put off the tour. But that was a great tour. We loved that. We thought when you went on tour, you stayed on the whole tour. We didn't realize they bring different acts in different places and ended up going on tour. We went on tour with Maze and some other people. That was great too. But I mean, just great being on the road, making a living, doing what you love to do. That's about the best thing. Meeting a lot of different people, performing on a lot of different stages was, you know, really incredible. We performed at Disneyland and Disney World. It was incredible to see a sea of people come running in. When they open those gates, we're peeking out and there's just like this sea of people just come running in. It's like, and they're there to see us. How is that possible? How could we be that fortunate, that blessed, that all these people, and not only that, it's the most amazing feeling to be on stage and have everyone in the audience singing the lyrics that you wrote. I mean, it just brings tears to my eyes. How could this be? How could I be this fortunate that I've touched this many people that they know every lyric?
Yeah.
Sorry, and especially I get emotional.
And even too, when you go sometimes to foreign countries and they know it in English.
Yes, they do. They know everything in English. They don't sing it in their excuse me. They do know it in English. They don't sing it in their own language. They sing the words that you've done. So it's amazing. It's simply amazing. You know, we go to foreign countries and we're trying to learn how you doing, or good afternoon, or good evening, or thanks for coming out in their foreign language. All you need to do is speak English. That's what they want to hear.
What was there one show in particular that just was a memory, whether something funny happened, or maybe you met someone that was a thrill, or maybe, you know, your bass was missing, or I don't know, it could be anything, but is there something that just stands out?
Well, I will tell you the one that stands out for all the wrong reasons. Okay? Right here in Los Angeles, we performed at Disneyland. Now we're playing at home. And on this date, Hazel and I just got these new outfits. Hazel's got this black sequence over top that kind of hangs low behind her butt, and she's got pants on. And I always like to wear dresses, right? So I've got my new sequence dress on. It's got a little lining underneath it, and you can see through the chiffon sequence. So anyway, we're doing the show, and Hazel goes to lift her foot up to do part of the routine. And we've never worn these before, and her heel gets caught in her top, and she falls down. Her butt hits the stage, and I'm saying, oh my God. And it's time for me to sing. And so I kind of strut over there too. I said, you better play the hell out of that guitar. I'm not going to verse so low. So she's on the ground, and she's playing. And so then I go to the next verse, and then it comes to another time where Hazel and I switch sides of the stage, and she goes to put her, and she falls again. And the text come out one on each side and just picks her up. And my heart is sinking. I'm feeling so bad. Oh my God. That's humiliating. Oh my God. So long story short, she ended up falling 3 times in one show. But flat on her back, not forward, didn't get hurt. Guys come up, made a part of the show. And every time she's on the ground, I didn't have to walk over there to her. I just said, play that guitar, girl. And so the audience is going crazy. She's down on her butt playing it. And one time she was on her knees or whatever. So it was great. So we get up to the dressing room, and I'm telling her, I'm trying to console her. I said, Hazel, I'm so sorry. I feel so bad. I'm so sorry that happened, Hazel. And then I look into the mirror, and I see that my underslip had worked all the way over, and my boob is stuck to the see-through chiffon with the sequence on the tip. You know, my boob is exposed. Oh, and I'm thinking, forget the fall. I would have rather fallen, right? I would have rather fallen. And so I'm thinking, how long has it been like this? Oh my God! And so one of my friends came up to the dressing room, and she said, it's been like that since the 3rd song. And I said, why didn't anybody tell me? She said, well, I was trying to get a note to you. I'm passing the note, but it was so crowded she couldn't get up there. And so I said, oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord. So trust me, y'all check that footage. You've got some beautiful photos, and in one of those photos is my left boob. And I know this because later that week, after the performance, we had an interview with Soul magazine that used to be popular back in the day. And the guy was there taking photos and so forth. So I went up to him and I said, can I see your slides from the show? That's the one particular one I'm looking for. And he probably already knew. He probably already had a copy of it. So I'm going through the slides, and sure enough, there it is. I'm like, it's a great shot. I'm like, and this is out, my beads are glistening. He had a soft lens. It was a beautiful shot, but there's that boob. Man, I would have rather fallen. This is way before it was okay to have your boobs out. It's way before ladies were wearing underwear as outer clothing, right? This is back in the 70s, not the 80s and 90s, not the Madonna days, okay? You can't have your boob out. That's unacceptable. So,
and at Disneyland, no less, too.
With all the children. And everyone I know, I'm from LA. I went to school all over LA, right? Yeah. So I put this picture up because I'm going to put it away somewhere. I have been carrying around boxes from that time trying to find that picture. I don't know where it is. I said, no, you got to bring that box. It's like 4 boxes. Those boxes must come wherever I go. I have to go through it. So much stuff and find that one photo. I have yet to find it.
Was that after?
That's memorable.
That's incredible.
That's
was
1978.
So after only the first record was out at that time?
After the Boogie was that was the hottest thing rolling. That was the summer of 1978. Boogie came out in April. So we were hot stuff then. Like, my boob is out.
Maybe you influenced Janet Jackson years later in the Super Bowl.
Nah. No, but I was thinking about that when I was telling you the story. That is, and then, please, I'm not even going to comment on that one. I'm looking forward to hear her story and hear the truth on that.
Yeah. Wow. Thanks for sharing that. That's hilarious and mortifying and everything.
It's just one of those things that happens.
I'm wondering if the crowd thought that her falling down was part of the act at some point, though, if it happened 3 times.
Maybe the first or second time, but by the 3rd time, I don't think, but it became part of the act because the response was so great that we had her fall down, but we had her fall on her knees, not her butt. So every show after that, she had 3 solos on Boogie. I don't know if it was the last solo we'd ever go to her knees, you know. And I'd go over there, play that thing, girl, play that thing. You know, we made it part of the show. Yeah, wow. That was, I mean, there's a story worse than that, but I'm going to save that for my book.
Fair enough. We'll look forward to that.
You won't believe it. That's all I would say.
So did Sukiyaki, how did that impact, your next record? Did you seek to sort of repeat the success or formula of that from that point?
No, we didn't, but other people did. That's why we have I'll Try Something New on the next album. And that was an Al McKay idea. In fact, what was Smokey's producer's name before that? We met with him to possibly do that Ladies of the 80s LP before it was recorded. But he produced Smokey Robinson. I can't think of his name. He's produced, I think, a Quiet Storm album. What's his name? But anyway, he had suggested I'll Try Something New. And we ended up not working with him. And we never shared that information with Al McKay. And then Al McKay suggested. So we ended up doing it. And I'm sure to this day, that guy thinks we got that idea from him. We did not. You guys both had the same great idea at the same time. And it's so funny. I'm going to tell you something about I'll Try Something New. When I Try Something New was released, Larkin Arnold was releasing It's Gonna Take a Miracle by Denise Williams. Larkin called me on the phone and he said, your song should be #1, but watch me push Denise Williams past you. I said, Larkin, that's cold. Why would you call me and tell me that? Call the company and tell them what to do and how to make it happen. He said, it's not my job. So he was messing with me, right? But that's what he said, and sure enough. Then we went to number 6, I think, and she went to we went to number 9 or something. 9. I don't know, 13 something.
9,
and I think,
number 9.
What was the other? I think she was number 6 or something like that. So, like, okay, so we've got all these little side jokes and things going on behind the scene that people don't realize is going on. I bet you I'm going to make it. The Denise Williams hit's going to be bigger than yours, and yours is a better record. I said, did she know you said that?
That's interesting too, because she used to work with Al McKay too back in the 70s. So they there's some crossover there with her Earth, Wind, and Fire relationship.
Very cool.
How did you get Al McKay assigned to your project?
Well, you just never know where and how you're going to meet someone. There's a pretty popular Thai food restaurant on Coenga and Sunset called Commodores. At least it used to be there in the 70s. And I went in there and Al McKay was in there with his son. And that's how we met. And he said, I got a song for you guys. And it was the song Sayonara, the one that Hazel sang. And I said, okay, great. Well, let's hear it. And that's just how it started. Next thing you know, he ended up producing the record. Met him at Chandor's Thai food restaurant in Hollywood, California. That's how we met. Next thing you know, he's producing.
How was he to work with?
Next question.
I heard he's kind of a mercurial guy, if that's the right term, but
well, I don't know. I think that Al learned some things from early on in his career that were not cool. I guess that's because that's the way he was treated. Now, as far as writing together, Al McKay and I are magic. I mean, he gave me a piece of a track to a song that ended up being called We've Got the Groove, Never Go Wrong. And what's the other one on there? You're looking at it.
Diamond Reel?
Diamond Reel.
Yeah,
he gave
funky.
Me three different just ideas of a song. I went home that night. I came back. I finished all 3 of them and recorded them because I didn't sleep back then. I was younger then. Hey, check this out. So I came back. He said, you did all 3 in one night? I said, I was motivated. It doesn't happen all the time. But when you're motivated like that and you know you have to get up in the morning, you don't go to bed. You stay up and do the creative thing. You can't say, well, I'll do it in the morning because in the morning that thought and that creative energy may not be there. I did all 3 of those songs in one night and took them back to Al, lyrics, melody, everything. He was stunned. But no, Al was cool. Al's just different. I mean, after coming from George Duke, it's just different. I guess the question should be, would you like to do that again? We can write together. Well,
write together, but
we could write together anytime, but he's just got a different way of doing stuff, and it didn't really work that well.
Lies struck me as sort of like a Rick James style funk track.
Yeah, that's a Hazel song. Hazel would either come really funky or really pop, rock. So that was a Hazel song. That was based on a story of someone telling some lies. A lot of times we write about our personal experiences. Lies, lies. Yeah, that was a cool song. That was very cool.
Yeah. And you had the Commodores connection on that one because Ronald LaPreed was involved.
Yeah. That's the song. Well, he wasn't involved. Was he in Lies? Yeah, he was on Lies.
No, Midnight Snack and Leaving
Midnight
Tomorrow.
Snack in the Sack. Yeah, Midnight Snack in the Sack. See, there's an unreleased album that Capitol has. That song came from there. And Ronald LaPreed had worked with us on a couple of songs, that and that crazy song. I don't know why we put on there Leaving Tomorrow, but I guess it was just a funny thing to do. But he co-produced those with us. But that album never came out, so we just took a couple of those songs and put it on the LaPreed album. I mean, on the Al McKay album.
Midnight Snack, I would say, might be A Taste of Honey's funkiest track.
Let me tell you why we did Midnight Snack in the first place. Capitol Records said to us, we don't know where to put you. Are you funk? Are you R&B? Are you pop? What are you? You're not black enough. It's like, oh man, could that be because I went to Catholic school? Because I didn't go to that sanctified church. We sing melodies, pretty melodies in Latin. They're not funky enough. I said, okay, we're going to give them something so black, they'll never say that to us again. So there was a pizza parlor in Lamberth Park down on Crenshaw across from Maverick's Flat. And one of the guys in there, a couple of guys in there were some of the writers on that song and so forth. And so that was the first rap record. We're not black enough? We're going to do some hip hop for you. Or what did they call it back then? Did they call it rap?
It was rap.
Woke up one morning, 12 o'clock. I wasn't that hungry. My body was hot. So I picked up the phone and I called this guy. I know what he said, come on by. Before I knew it, I was in his eye. I said, hi. Midnight Snack in the Sack. I love playing that song. That's a funk. I love that song. Yes. But it scared the heck out of Capitol. I said, okay, put that one out. We're not black enough. Put that out. Be bold. Nah. Too bold. Too black.
It's like the funkiest Commodore sound meets the Brides of Funkenstein on that one. I mean,
I know that should have shocked everyone, right? When you heard that, you said, "This can't be A Taste of Honey. This can't be." Yes, it is. We do a variety of music. We pull from everything we have. Hazel's input, my input. Just put it together. It was great. Hazel and I used to write some really great songs together. I've got to find some of the ones that weren't released because we did the songs like "I Love You," "This Love of Ours," that kind of stuff. It's kind of soft rock, jazzy kind of stuff. I like that.
Speaking of funk, though, and that was 1982, I think, and I know Capitol in '82 signed George Clinton. Did you guys cross paths ever with George Clinton?
Never did.
No.
Never did. Never did.
What about Frankie Beverly or?
Yeah, we worked with Frankie Beverly a few times. We worked with Frankie Beverly. Yeah, we did on the road. In fact, one of the videos that Capitol did that also is not released, on the live videos in New Orleans, we worked with Frankie, and maybe a couple of other places too. He's funky. Yeah,
great group, and they put out a live at New Orleans record actually. So
that's where the video was, and that's where it was. Yeah,
okay,
that's where we worked with him. We were opening for him.
Wow, what a show!
Yeah.
So what happened then? You did one more record, but it was just you, and Hazel went off and did her own thing. And
the last record was Ladies of the 80s. Sukiyaki, Price is Sweet was Hazel and I. Ladies of the 80s was Hazel and I. Then Hazel quit in 1973 to go off and do her production and do the stuff that she wanted to do before.
83.
Yeah, she quit in 83.
Uh-huh.
So to go on and do it, because at that time, Taste of Honey wasn't making any money. They owed me, I don't know, $70,000 back then. Probably owed her 20,000 just from being on the road and having to pay per diems and stuff when the gigs fall through. Do you take the whole band and fly home? Is it cheaper to fly the whole band home and then go back, or is it cheaper to stay there and just pay the hotel? So, a lot of times it's not a good time for a Taste of Honey. So it was more stress than it was worth it. At that point, we weren't having a lot of fun. Music was more political than anything. So,
but you still had a top 10 R&B hit on that record, so had some, you would think, some momentum still going into the One Taste of Honey project, right?
Well, I had a lot of momentum going into it, and as the what turned, as the tower turned. Now, when Hazel quit, I was actually trying to leave Capitol. My friend Gary Getzman, who produces now with Tom Hanks and different stuff, he was a music producer at the time, working with the Talking Heads and some other people. He wanted me to go to Warner Brothers. I wanted to go to Warner Brothers. Capitol wouldn't let me go.
What was attractive? What was attractive to you about Warner's?
It was fresh, and Gary, they wanted me. They were interested in me. They were asking, and that's a good indication that maybe I should be looking at other things. At Capitol at this point, when Hazel quit, there was so much drama going on. There's a lot of personal stuff going on. It wasn't a very good time at all. And so it would have been great to be out of there. But because I wasn't going to get let go, I didn't really have clear direction on what I wanted to do on my album, for one thing. I was still dealing with the breakup and so forth of the group. But Jim Mazza, who at the time was the president of Capitol Records, was really behind me. He wanted to release Love You Tonight, and he had all this promotion set up and all this stuff he was going to do, and he was going against the promotion men because they wanted something else. And lo and behold, guess what happened? Jim Mazza was fired before my stuff came out, 2 weeks before my release. So there was no one supporting it.
Mm.
So that's the way it happened. As the tower, what?
Who's it going to be? I thought, should have been a single, for example.
Yeah, I like who it was going to be. I like that. And I also like Giving It Up for Love, if I remember correctly. Giving It Up and Love Me Tonight. But I didn't have a lot of direction. I was just putting the songs out at the time, but now I would approach it a little bit differently.
When you mentioned Warner Brothers, Janice, and to me, a track like Baby Sister had some like Prince Minneapolis kind of influence at that point.
Yeah. That's where Warner Brothers I think they would have had a better chance with promoting those type of songs, because Capitol just didn't do anything. That's it. You live and you die there.
So how disillusioned were you at that point?
At that point, it's hard to say, because in my mind, Boogie wasn't old enough to be a classic. So it's not like a lot of royalties were coming in at that time. I was off on trying to figure out what I'm going to do to survive, because Taste of Honey owed me a lot of money from that time period. The people aren't paying rent at my house and leasing it out. Okay, I got to make some changes over here. There's too much stuff going on in the real world, not the music world, to worry about other than just survival. So I had gone into another mode, because like I mentioned, I do more than just music. I'm also a copyright, patent, trademark paralegal. So I went and got a job at Spencer Horn, Libbets and Gibbets in Century City. And while I'm doing my creative stuff, I have to send you some other pictures. Like I mentioned, I did the creative merchandise for Taste of Honey Records, but I also have a toy collection that was out. So, and while I'm designing clothes, I said, well, how can I make some cash? I need cash. I don't want to wait every 2 weeks to get the money. And I went to a concert and I saw this girl in the back of the limo. I said, what are you doing back there, girl? She said, I'm making jewelry while these people pay me to wait. I said, that's it. I'm going to drive a limo. So I went out that Monday, because went out that Monday. I looked up the places in Encino where I was living. I said, okay, there's a place I can go. Okay. So I went in there and I said to the guy, I want to drive a limo. You got a job for me? And he said, well, have you ever driven a limo before? I said, no, but I've driven a tour bus, and there's nothing that I can't do. And I believe that. So I think this my confidence. There's nothing that I can't do. Limo's easy peasy. I know how to treat people in the back of it for sure, right? So, and that was Monday. I didn't hear anything back from him. Thursday night or Friday morning, I get a message on my answering service. You know, back in the days, guys, there's a little tape thing. You push play and you hear your messages. So I push play, and there's a guy from the limo company. He said, "Okay, you're booked this Friday. There's a wedding out in Agora. Keys are under the visor." That's all the instructions I get. So, okay. So went down there, got in the limo, drove the little stretch limo down there, picked up my people. I got great tips. But here's something you don't know, and they don't know. I drove some members of the SOS band. I was incognito. They didn't know it. They were playing, I think it was Long Beach, and there was some concert. And when it was time for them to get out of there, there was maybe it was their management. There was a police car because it was just crowded. You couldn't get out. I got right up on the bumper of this police car. They were trying to get, here's this limo, trying to get out of there. I don't know where they were going in police. Once I got there, they just did like this. "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm out." But yeah, I drove a limo, and I drove a limo maybe about 9 months. So I let the limo go, but I didn't let the limo go just for that. I let the limo go because I almost went to jail for robbing a bank shortly the next weekend. That's a whole nother story.
By the way,
I didn't rob the bank. I switched it, took these people on this long, they had 24. I used to like the long run. Work one day out of the week. I got cash. I can do all my creative stuff. So this people wanted this long run, little young folks, and I couldn't take it after. Been on since 9 in the morning. I was going to be on till 9 at night. I called about 9 in the morning for relief. Another limo driver came out this Saturday morning. So I used to drive a white stretch. He drove a stretch Cadillac. They wanted my white car. I said, "Okay, no problem. Keep the car. I'll take the Cadillac back to the office, go home." I go to sleep. I wake up about, I don't know what time, it was 6 o'clock in the evening when I turn the news on. And I'm seeing a police chase on the 405 with a white stretch limo being chased by the police, the highway patrol, whatever, had a long line of folks. They had robbed the bank on Wilshire, Saturday on Wilshire, right near where we switched cars, right? It was my limo driver. That could have been me. They put a gun to his head and said, "Drive." They went into the bank, came out, put the gun to his head and said, "Drive." He stayed in jail till the owners got back from vacation in Mexico. They couldn't confirm.
wow, that's some drama, high drama.
I was through with that. I'm through with that. Okay, I don't think I like this little stuff, but I got cash. That was good. Don't tell the IRS. They didn't hear that, right? It was cool. It was great.
So you came back with that record in 1999. Did you do any performing, before?
Actually, yes. The record, Hiatus of the Heart. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. I performed mainly locally. I performed at MI Music Studio, MI Music Institute in Hollywood. I did a show there, and I did some classes there for some of the bass players. And we did, casinos, Mississippi, and I was able to perform some of the songs. But mainly people want to hear the Taste of Honey stuff. So I'd sneak in, depending on how long the show is. If the show is long enough, then I can sneak in some other stuff. If it's 15 minutes, I have to do Boogie, Sukiyaki, and Rescue Me. I can't do 15 minutes and don't do Boogie, don't do Sukiyaki, don't do Rescue Me. People want to, that's what they're there for. So if it's a long enough show, then I said, okay, now you heard what you wanted. I'm going to play something. I'm going to explain something else to you.
But that album in 99, what inspired you to finally actually, go ahead and put another record out?
It had been time. I had taken time off from music because at this point it's like, okay, am I going to get married and have children? What am I doing here? Am I just going to be out on this road the whole time? So I decided to take time off long enough to find me someone to love me. And I did that. And that hiatus of the heart was like therapy for me because the song that inspired the whole album is, of course, the song Hiatus of the Heart. Hiatus of the Heart was written after I lost 2 babies. I delivered 2 stillborn babies. And music is like, whew. Excuse me. Music is like
healing, cathartic.
It was my therapy. No, I just had to pull myself together. It was my therapy for that situation that had happened with the 2 babies. So in 1999, I delivered my wonderful son, Jean Paul, that was just speaking in here to tell me my next appointment is here already. But he was really, that song was inspired by life experiences. And then I just wanted to keep on going. We kept writing more songs and more songs. So that's what that was.
Well, it's a nicely produced record. And if people haven't heard it, Let Love Rain Down, got some world and reggae, world influences on that one. And elsewhere on the record, you have some reggae influences and Matter of Fact. It's a nice dance track.
It's interesting. Matter of Fact is a song that Lionel was going to record on his record. We recorded the whole thing in the key of G form. We did everything but the vocal. They're like, what? He said, I want you to play every bass part on there. I had to actually write the music out because on the demo, there's a lot of bass on there. And I don't know, we're just playing and just, punch me in. So I had to solo all the bass parts, write a chart out. I hadn't written the chart out since since college. But he just didn't do the vocal. That was his first solo album after the group, not after his hiatus. That album didn't do too well for him because he probably needed Matter of Fact on it and Let Love Rain Down. Now, Let Love Rain Down was actually written, I think maybe when did we go have the first Desert Storm? That was written back then. Because I was politically speaking, I said, can we do more love, guys? And everybody's talking about tomorrow. Can we love each other today? Not tomorrow. Don't look to tomorrow. The children are depending on us to get this right. And what are we doing? That's why the other song, Love is the Only Thing That Matters. Please, won't you think about the children? They look for us to lead the way. Blah, 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 and so forth. But I had a good time doing that album. And I'm actually working with David Cochran on that album. Now, David Cochran is from the Commodore camp. He's from Tuskegee, Alabama. I met him when he was 17 working with the Commodores. I was, 24 at the time. He was the guitar player, the sax player. When the guy would go downstairs go down front and sing Brick House, he was the drummer. When Lionel Richie lost his voice, he was Lionel Richie singing 3 times a lady. When Lionel Richie quit and they still had 2 more shows to do, he was Lionel Richie. So we've been working together.
MVP.
Yes, indeed. Long time. So it's all good.
What was it like singing on Lionel Richie's records?
Oh, it was like being home. We used to hang out at the house, singing, messing around. So when it's time, I think I may have just been passing through that day. David worked with them all the time. David has quite a few songs on Lionel's solo projects, Commodore projects. And he said, we need some background. Janice, get in there and sing. I said, okay. That's pretty much how that happened. All night. So that's pretty much how that happened.
I'm guessing you're probably going to say no, but still, are you surprised that Lionel took off to such a superstar level when he went solo?
No, he should have done that. I was speaking with Lionel that whole time, trying to decide whether he's going to go solo. Lionel and I are good friends. And Benny, his Benny Ashford, what's his manager's name? Benny, whatever. He was calling me, can you talk to Lionel? Can you try to convince him to stay in the group? Can you do that? I said, Lionel, these people are calling me up. I said, but you know what? I actually was part of one of the ones encouraging him to leave because there's a lot of drama going on in the industry as a whole, but it was his time to shine. Everybody's not going to shine in the group. And Lionel was working with Diana Ross. He had some issues going on with the Commodores, with their publishing and songs. Songs
Kenny
in the
Rogers
Commodores
too, yeah.
were split. Songs in the Commodores were split 7 ways. Benny Ashburn, the manager, and the 6 in the band, they all got a piece of that. And I'm pretty sure Lionel must have got tired of that. But then he did Diana Ross, and what did one you just mentioned?
Kenny Rogers.
Kenny Rogers, Lady. That song was presented for the Commodores. They didn't want it.
Hmm.
So at some point, I mean, your group can actually hold you back. And that's actually what I was thinking. So when Benny's asking me, well, can you talk to Lionel about staying? I said, it's his time to shine. Why would you want me to ask him to stay? He's not going to listen to me anyway. If I'm going to encourage him to do anything, it's going to shine. Now is your time to shine. So just try to be respectful when you make your move, because at what point do you just stay there when you've got room to grow and it's your turn you do not deserve to grow? I think you do. So no, I wasn't surprised. In fact, I was not surprised at all, we'll say, that he made that move. It was his time. He needed to.
As far as A Taste of Honey goes, what track are you most proud of?
I'd say Sukiyaki. That's the one I think it caught a lot of people off guard, and it touched a lot of souls. It touched a lot of people. I don't know if proud is the word. That's one of my favorite songs. I mean, the one I'm most proud of. I'm just proud that we even got to the point where we were blessed enough to get stuff out and about, whether we had super stardom or just minimum. I'm thankful for the stardom and the fame that we've had. It's like food to our souls. And
if you had to tell somebody, hey, you may have missed this song in the catalog of A Taste of Honey, go back and check it out because people missed it. What track might that be?
I would say I Love You, for one. Never Go Wrong. Those two. You may have missed that. Yeah. And then, I don't know if they missed Distant, because I think it was the second song coming up on the album. Midnight Snack in the Sack. They missed that one completely.
Well, part of the reason they missed is because the record companies missed them, is I think part of it. And so what are you working on now? What might we see in the near future? You mentioned your son being musical, so share some of that with us.
Yes, my son is an incredible artist. I mean, he's taken the talent that I've given him to the next generation. He's a singer, songwriter, producer, multi-instrumentalist. He plays instrumentalist. He plays bass, drums, guitar. He plays everything on everything, sings, arranges. I mean, he's incredible. If you go to Jean Placide, PLACIDE.com, you see I'm not just promoting my son. You see that I'm speaking the truth, because if he wasn't that good, I wouldn't be telling you about him, right? I wouldn't say anything. So I, of course, am working on new music, looking forward to getting it out soon. I've got a few companies asking me for stuff, so I'm working that together. Expect to hear something this year, before the end of this year. Definitely working on new music. I am so excited. It's just hard. It takes longer to get some of the things done, because some of the people that I wanted to work with through the pandemic, they got day jobs now. So, okay, what time do you get off of work? I'll try to get you out of your day gig. Come on by. The latest track. So definitely new music. And, I don't know if you can see this, but I've been doing jewelry through the pandemic. Like I say, history is more than just music. I've been involved in toys, merchandise, different stuff. So at the musictoyourears.co, musictoyours.co, you'll see that. You go to tasteofhoney music.com. I'm putting a new store together, which is Shop A Taste of Honey. And that's because the music to your ears, it's got the jewelry, it's got, you see that?
Yeah.
Bracelets, and it's got all kinds of stuff like that. But people say, can I get some t-shirts? Can I get some CDs or records? I said, okay, I'll put that store together for you. So I'm in the process of putting that together. Hopefully it'll be together before the Time Life Ultimate Disco Cruise, which is coming up next month. So just staying busy.
Is that more of an isolated appearance, or are you doing, you think, multiple appearances coming up?
I'm doing, we just came back from New York, and New York was the first gig I've been on since the pandemic. The last gig I did with the First Ladies of Disco. Norma Jean and I sang Boogie together, and Marsha Wash and and a few other people on the show. That was so great. But the last one, we talked about that for a long time because we didn't have another show to talk about it. We've been dormant the whole 2020, right? So I performed for a Christmas party back in New York on the 17th of December. It was fantastic. They were starving for entertainment as much as I was starving for the food to my soul that they give us. So it was, I mean, we talking about party, hardy. We partied. I even was out with my bass dancing with the audience. This was great. So we've got the gig coming up with Time Life Disco Cruise, February 26th through the 3rd, I think it is. And some things for July, summertime stuff. Stuff is starting to come in. Everybody's trying to see what's going on with this darn pandemic.
You mentioned a book in our conversation. What's the situation there? Are you is something formulating?
Oh no, it's just one. I'm working on a book. Of course, we're working on a book. My story is so phenomenal. I mean, from childhood on up, you wouldn't believe the story. And if you notice, I don't talk a lot about my early childhood. So there's a reason for that. There's a reason I'm creative. So yes, I'm working on a book. I've had people ask me that. A couple of people, producers, wanted to write a movie, a series, blah blah blah. But the synopsis is that you said, well, maybe you should do the book first because there's so many different things you have to pull from this experience. Just particularly like with Aretha Franklin, they can't tell her whole story. So you pull from whatever that weekend was, or you let them know that month what happened. So I'm working on that. But mainly I'm working on some new music. Well, I have some music for you. If you get a chance, you mentioned Let Love Rain Down. I'm going to re-release that album. I'm going to re-release that properly. There's some people pulling stuff off because that was missed. And it's needed now. Back in 1999, they were too busy calling each other's women bitches and hoes and all that stuff. They didn't want to hear anything about love and man's inhumanity to man. We got to stop that. Everybody come together, love each other. They don't want to hear that. Now we need it. But in 2011, in the UK, Sing for Water, which is a nonprofit organization that puts water in third world countries, they heard it. They had, I think it was like 1,100 people singing my song. I was shocked. I was just searching the internet and I put Let Love Rain Down. There's this big, huge choir in England singing Let Love Rain Down. It's like, wow, some people do know it. Okay. So when you mentioned that song, it made me think of that. But yeah. I've got some great new stuff. It's just getting it out there. I've got some people interested, which is good. Because, what's our avenue? What audience are we going? I'm not just going for the old folks. We know I need to catch some of these younger people.
Yeah.
Get them to come together. So
my only request is to make sure you have a mix of up tempo and slow stuff. Don't go all slow,
Oh no. No. We never do just one thing because I'm not a dance band, right? I'm a lover. I'm a romantic. So I'm going to give you the stuff to dance with, but I'm going to give you something to make love to also. Yeah, and maybe a little cha-cha. Some old folks will do some cha-cha music, some of that in between.
Sounds good. Yeah. Hey, I appreciate so much you sharing all this with us, Janice. And
it's my pleasure.
A lot of fun, and congratulations on where you are today and on creating so much great music and great memories for so many people.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you having me here. And when I'm in North Carolina, I'm going to look you up. All right, beautiful.
Take care.
Thank you.
Okay.
Take care.
Bye, Janice.
Bye-bye. Bye.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of Truth in Rhythm. A big thank you goes out to our guest as well as to you, the viewer and listener. Also, much gratitude to Pleasure for supplying the show's funky opening and closing music. As a reminder, you can always access the complete list of linked shows by episode at funkandstuff.net. I urge you to support this program and receive the extra benefits along with that by subscribing to the Funk and Stuff channel on YouTube and sharing it with funk, R&B, and jazz lovers, joining Truth and Rhythm's membership program at Patreon, submitting a donation at funkandstuff.net, buying Everything is on the One, the First Guide to Funk book at Amazon, shopping at the Funky Things store for cool merchandise at funkandstuff.net, and linking through funkandstuff.net for all of your Amazon purchases. In addition, if you're an artist or anyone seeking proven, results-oriented professional marketing, PR, writing, or editing consultation or production, check out the media services section at funkinstuff.net. Also, I encourage you to drop me a line at scottg@funkinstuff.net. I love the feedback, suggestions, guest requests, appearance and sponsorship inquiries, and just talking about my favorite subject, groove-based music. For now, and as always, this is Scott Dr. GX Goldfine saying, keep on vibing to the rhythm of the one.